EURUSD pushed up higher yesterday in an overall pullback on the fractal structure, and in today's video I'm going to be explaining how we can now potentially capitalize on a further downside push here on EURUSD. Good morning guys, my name is Fabio, and as always we have a beautiful daily market outlook here which is going to be explaining to you exactly what the next major dollar pairs are going to be doing and also what you can potentially see from gold for the day ahead. Now EURUSD pushed up higher, back up in towards its area of daily supply from where we can potentially look for shorts. The overall fractal structure here on EURUSD is still bearish, and as we can see here, the overall fractal high has remained to be respected, with this here being the current fractal low. So we saw an overall little push in towards the upside here, but we've now shifted bearish after this fractal low break. We've now retraced back up in towards the overall buy before the sell, and from this area of supply there are now potential shorts on our hands. Now the major news updates for today is that a federal appeals court has temporarily blocked a ruling that threatened to throw out the bulk of President Donald Trump's tariff agenda, giving the White House hope to continue its efforts to rewrite the global trading order. So there was a judge who said that all of the tariffs of Trump were unlawful, that it was not allowed, and that he had 10 days to, let's say, turn everything back. But now a federal appeals court has temporarily blocked that ruling, and despite the temporary reprieve, the possibility remains that the appeals court could ultimately back the original ruling and block Trump's tariff policy. So still on the other side, there is this as well. So let's keep an eye on it, because this could reduce the effective US tariff rate below 6% from a high of almost 27% last month. Now, when there's finally some certainty surrounding this, that is when we're going to see the new real trends happen in the markets, because obviously EURUSD has kind of been a little bit consolidative here within this overall box, and we're waiting for that next big push. However, for now, EURUSD is inside an area of daily supply, and I am looking for that next leg down, as you still have a lot of equal and ascending lows open, which I would preferably want to get targeted. Furthermore, on a higher time frame being the weekly or even the monthly, we can very clearly see that we tapped into this monthly imbalance over here, which has also gotten an area of daily supply. Now from this daily area of supply, we're looking for a potential pushback in towards downside, which we initially already got, and now we're just looking for a potential deeper retracement. Overall, the market has actually already retraced in towards the 0.5 fib, which we've seen over here, but we do not have liquidity, which is essential in my opinion to fuel the next big leg upwards. So preferably I would want to see at least this low get swiped again in the near future on EURUSD. So got my eyes on a potential short. Looking here at the 4 hour, however, it is not ideal for short positions. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, it actually is, as we can see that we've taken out all of the descending highs that we had over here in this overall trend line. Yesterday I mentioned that we were looking to take out these two highs at minimum in yesterday's live session, and then after that we could potentially look for a sell opportunity. What we got here was the push up, the retracement down, one more liquidation of the overall high, and since this morning we've been selling off in towards the downside, and for the rest of the day I'll be looking for us to mirror this overall impulse up further in towards the downside. So looking for a further push in towards the lows. Yet that is what I'm currently favoring here on EURUSD, which is in line with the overall daily area of supply. But this is also in line with the dollar index, because the dollar index is currently also situated inside an area of daily demand. As we can see here on Wednesday to Thursday, we got an overall daily fractal break. We have formed an area of daily demand over here, and I'm now looking for the markets to continue pushing up higher. Looking here at the 4 hour time frame, we can clearly see, and it's more clear on the 1 hour, because again I mentioned this in yesterday's live session as well. On yesterday's live session I mentioned we had the two lows over here. So here we have a liquidation event, here we do not. So preferably what you then wanted to see yesterday was the low get taken. Well, that happened in this overall push down. Then on the 4 hour time frame, what have we now seen? We've seen an overall fractal structural shift. So what has now happened here is that the market structure has shifted bullish again on the fractal structure. So you get the push down, the pullback, the push down, and then boom, the push up, meaning that this is now pretty much your area of demand. And we're now looking for the dollar to continue up higher and continue its overall leg in towards the upside following the daily fractal structure. Now my bias will only change once we break the current fractal low. Then for me, this will be the next low that is going to be taken. But as long as this current fractal low is respected on the dollar, I am looking for that further upside. Now, moving into AUDUSD, AUDUSD saw a push up with that bearish dollar yesterday. However, we can now see that the Australian dollar remains weak and that the US dollar is pushing AUDUSD down lower. Now, this is a pair, again, guys, that I am not trading at the moment. We still have a lot of lows open, which could still be targeted before I would want to get into this. Upside liquidity has already been taken over here. So the beginning of this descending trend line, right? If we extend it to the right, you can see this was the liquidity grab that fueled the overall move down. So now we need to grab some more liquidity, in my opinion, underneath these descending lows. So I'm just going to let AUDUSD take out those lows before looking for any potential longs at all. For the rest, very consolidated pair that I'm not really looking to trade at the moment. Going into GBPUSD, we can see that GU is pushing down lower again. After reacting to this daily area of demand yesterday and in line with the daily fractal structure as well. This here is the current fractal low. This here is the current fractal high, right? So we get the push up, pull down, push up, pull down, push up, pull down again. So following the fractal structure, it made sense yesterday to push up higher. Going into the 4-hour time frame now, we have, however, seen a lot of manipulation. Now, the thing is here with GBPUSD is that we still have some equal lows resting over here, which I preferably would want to see get taken. So I'm still looking for some short-term downside here from GBPUSD, at least in towards these lows over here. So here we had a nice liquidation event. Here we had a nice liquidation event, and here we did not yet have that. Therefore, I'm still looking for GBPUSD to push down in towards the lows. So looking for that on GU. Overall, that would also align with the overall PVD, so the premium versus discount, and you're looking to trade it in towards the 0.5 fib here for GU in towards the rest of the day. And as long as the dollar index remains bullish, with fractal wise, then it still makes sense to look for GBPUSD shorts because a bullish dollar means GBPUSD down. Going into NZDUSD, NZDUSD is still similar to AUDUSD, but a little bit stronger, to be honest. It's consolidating here on the 4-hour time frame. So since Tuesday, we've just been moving in a range overall. Not a pair that I'm very inclined to trade at the moment. All I can say is that it is still bullish. If we start here on the daily time frame, we can see that we had the overall leg in towards the highs. Then we have the overall correction. And now obviously you would be looking for a next leg up. However, we're leaving behind a lot of ascending lows over here, which I preferably would want to see get taken, tap into the green zone before fueling that next leg up. So I wouldn't be looking to get into swings at these levels on NZDUSD, only in on some, let's say, intraday trades. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, 4-hour is bullish. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense to look for longs. 1 hour is consolidating. It now swept all of the lows. So let's say we do see some form of an aggressive buy up again. We break the current fractal high. That is when you could potentially get in some short-term intraday longs back up in towards this high, for example. But for the rest, I would personally leave it to consolidate. Going into dollar yen, dollar Swiss, and gold. Dollar yen overall sold off back in towards the downside. Looking here at the daily, we can see in the last 2 days an aggressive sell-off in towards the lows. Overall here on the 4-hour time frame, messy price action. Daily time frame is a little bit messy price action at the moment. The 1 hour as well. Overall, looking at this 1 hour time frame, just wait for the current fractal high to get broken again, and then look for some longs again, back up into where? In towards this 4-hour supply zone over here. Personally, the thing with these pairs at the moment is that they're just technically not very, very clean. Looking at dollar Swiss, you can see pretty much the same. All I can say for dollar Swiss is that I'm still very interested in further upside on this. Fundamentally, it still makes sense for me to look for longs on dollar Swiss. We have a key level of support and resistance here. And I will be looking for the fractal structure to remain strong, to remain bullish, as this here is the current fractal low, this here is the current fractal high. So for me, it still makes sense to look for those longs. 4-hour wise, it's a little bit messy, but we did take out liquidity. If you look at the 1 hour time from here, we took out these lows. It's very similar to the price action that we've seen on gold this week as well, where we also had kind of like a situation where you have like this ascending trend line, or where you have like liquidity resting underneath this low, and then you get the 1 hour change of character double. So I'm now looking for this to get definitely push up higher or in towards the rest of today. Maybe we'll manipulate a little bit more, but then still I'll be perfectly fine with getting some more entries at lower price levels. All I am looking for eventually is for dollar Swiss to push up higher. Going into gold, last of all, we can see that gold here, has been again retracing overall, looking at gold, we had beautiful longs opportunities yesterday. Here we had kind of the low, and this is the liquidation event that I was talking about on dollar Swiss that actually happened here on gold, where we liquidated the overall low. And then, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, we were looking at the change of character, and that's then where you want to get into those buys. So either from the initial area of demand that is then created, so the initial sub for the buy over here, or you just buy on the double high break. Obviously, this is kind of like the ideal setup, and then the overall initial target is definitely this high over here. And as you can see, we take out the liquidity above that high, and then from there you start retracing. So for gold overall, we're now just filling up old areas of demand. So this is an old demand zone. And now what you could say is that, okay, if gold then, for example, now breaks the current fractal high, that is then a moment that I'll be looking to get into new long positions again, back up into 60 approximately. So that's what I'm looking for on gold. Not interested in shorts, only interested in longs, as we are also in the impulsive phase of gold overall. I explained this on the live session. We have the overall impulse up, we have the overall correction in towards the downside, and then we have one last impulse in towards the highs, which we're now looking to capitalize on. So now the impulsive phase, and I'm looking to trade gold up higher still with the overall impulsive phase. So let's see if we can get those 1 hour longs on gold. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic trading day. Any questions, make sure to join Discord and I'll see you there.